students, today our lesson is about graphing linear equations. A linear equation is an equation that forms a line, a straight line, when it's graphed. A line can be horizontal, vertical, or diagonal. First thing we're going to learn is the standard form of a linear equation, what it looks like. The standard form of a linear equation is like this. Ax plus by equals c. A is a number, b is a number, and c is a number. They've got rules. A has to be greater than 0 or equal to. That means it cannot be a negative. So that's important. A cannot be negative. And then B, A and B cannot both be 0. In other words, you have to have at least one x or one y. But you can not have a y or not have an x. And then A, B, and C are integers with the greatest common factor of 1. Means they're in simplest terms. So here's an example. If 3x plus 2y equals 5, A is 3, B is 2, and C is 5. They're in that form. A is not negative, but they're all in simplest form. In x equals negative 7, A is 1. So there's a 1 in front of this x. There is no b, there's no y here, so no b. That's why b is 0. And then c is your negative 7. So let's look at some more of these. We're going to have to determine whether each equation is a linear equation. If you can write it in standard form, it's a linear equation. It will make a straight line. And then it tells you to write the equation in standard form. So in this one, we have the negative 3x on the right side. We need to move it to the left because we want our x and our y on the left side. So we're going to just move it by adding 3x. Adding 3x. We get 3x plus y equals 4. And then look, is that in ax plus by equals c form? And yes, it is. And since I can write it in that form, then yes, this is a linear equation. Now we look at the second one. Since I see an x in both my terms, automatically I cannot write that in the form of ax plus by equals c. So this is a no, it is not a linear equation. Next. Now we have a 1/3 in front of y equal to negative 1. And I can move that 1/3. I can get rid of my fraction by multiplying its reciprocal on both sides. Flip it over. Here's those cancel away. Y equals, and then multiply straight across it is negative 3 and 1, which leaves negative 3. Now is this in the form of ax plus by equals c? Well, I don't have an a, that means a is 0, and a can be 0. I have a y, at b it's 1, and I have a c. So yes, it is in that form, and it is a linear equation. Now when we look at this one, I have a squared x term. I cannot write that in the form of ax, because it's not a single x, it's an x squared. So now automatically, this is not linear. I cannot write it ax plus by equals c. Let's proceed now. Next thing you're going to learn how to do is use the x, what's called x and y intercepts. And these are pretty easy. It simply means where the line crosses the x-axis and where it crosses the y-axis. That's what x and y intercept mean. So when we look at this graph equation, the line crosses the x at 20, and it crosses the y at 30. So if we look at our choices here, we look for one that says the x-intercept is 20, and the y-intercept is 30. That's the answer. That's what an intercept means. We're going to learn how to figure that. We have to graph these two lines using the x and y intercepts. First, we're going to put this one aside, and we're going to work with this top one up here. When you need to know the x and y intercepts, you take turns letting either the y be 0, solve for x, and then you'll do it again, making x equal, solve for y. So first thing I'm going to do is make y 0 and solve for x. So I've got negative x plus 2 times 0 equaling 3. 2 times 0 is 5. Negative x equals 3. And first intercept. I'm going to come over here and put a dot on x at -3. And I'm going to go back and I'm going to solve it again, making x 0. So I'm going to say -0 plus 2y equals 3. That's 1. 2y equals 3 is left. Divide by 2. And y is 3 over 2, or 1 1/2. So I go back to my graph, and I go up y to 1 1/2, and put my dot, and I'm going to draw a line through these two. And there I've graphed it using the x and y intercepts. It's complete. Just take turns solving each term. Erase this. Replaces positions. Use this to do the same thing. First, I'm going to let y be 0. Solve for x. X equals 5. I'm going to bring the x over to the other side. So x equals -5. So the first intercept is x at -5. Here. X is solve for y. That just eliminates x. -5 for y. So the y, I go down to -5. This time, both my intercepts are -5. And this is what the line looks like. Graph that line. And that's how you graph using x and y intercepts. The other way you can graph, if you're going to learn how to graph, is by making a table. And this should be the last thing I need to show you in this lesson. When we make a table, you're going to create values of x that you want to use and take turns plugging them into your equation. So the first equation we're going to use is this one. It says 2x minus y equals 2. And to use values of x, keep your numbers really small, like -2, -1, 0, and 1. -1, 0, 1, and 2. Just keep them really small, right around 0. Then you're just going to start plugging each of these x's in and solving for your y. So the first one, I'm going to put a -2 in here. Right, I'm going to take -2. Yes, it's going to be 2 times -2. Minus y equals 2. 2 times -2 is -4. Minus y equals 2. Add 4 to the other side. So we'll get -y equals 6, and then we divide by our -1, so we'll get y equals -6. So whenever x is -2, y is -6. That means we're putting -2 and -6. Let's do it again. -1, going down. So we're going to 2 times -1 minus y equals 2. So we -2 minus y equals 2. Add 2 to the other side. -y equals 4, so y is -4. So x is -1. Y is -4. Do it again. 0. You need to do about 4 points. How much I want you to work out. So then we're going to do 2 times 0. Minus y equals 2. So this makes it 0. Minus y equals 2. And then y is -2. So whenever x is 0, y is -2. That's our point. And you should see a pattern of the interest gets down. The y is increasing by 2 as the x increases by 1. So that should help you figure out your last point. When x is 1, y should be increasing by 2, which would make it 0. And you can test that don't line up in a straight line, then you draw a line through it, arrows on each end, and you graph your line using an equation. And the only other thing I want to show you now is these other two lines, these other two equations up here. They're different. When we work with one like x equals 3, that means that all your x values are 3. Because it says x is 3, x won't change. Whenever x is 3, y can be anything. And you can make it a 1, 0, -1, and 2. And then you can graph those points. You can come over here and put, okay, 3, 1, 3, 0, 3, -1, and 3, I forgot my negative, or 3, 2, here. It actually goes up here. But what I'm trying to show you is it makes a horizontal line on the vertical. Sorry about that. It creates a vertical line. Anytime it's x equals 3, it's a vertical line. Now if we do the y equals, it's going to be the opposite. It says y is -2, y is -2 every time. X can be -1, 0, 4, 6, anything you want it to be. Because y is always -2. So when we graph these, go to the -2 on y, and we'll say x is -1, y is -2, x is 0, y is -2, when x is 4, y is -2, when x is 6, y is -2. It's just saying that line will cross the line at -2, and it will be a horizontal line. X equals 3 is vertical, y equals is horizontal, and they are straight.